Hello and welcome to your second session together. Today we're moving on to the lower body, and mainly we're going to focus on the hips. The hips are very important for bouldering. As you know, there is a typical knee drop, there's the knee lock, and staying close to the wall typically involves very open hips. And despite of that, a lot of boulderers have tight hips, and that is a very typical difficulty and issue that we have. So today we're going to start slow. I'm going to explain basic movements from the hips, basic positions that are important to know for bouldering and that you can transfer onto the wall. Then we're going to do some mobility, try to unlock the hips a little bit, bring in some movements, do a couple of stretches. I hope you enjoy. Let's get started. So we're starting in a comfortable seated position, and we're going to begin with some wrist circles. We're warming up the wrists a little bit because we'll be using a lot of the wrists for our hips exercises. Change directions. And then you're going to do a fist with your hands and squeeze as much as you can, feeling the blood flow into your fingers. And then we're spreading our fingers as wide as you can, making your hand as big as you can. Then you're going to interlace the fingers. Palms are facing forward, and we're going to extend our arms, feeling the stretch in the fingers. And then you're going to raise the arms over the head, making yourself as long as you can, and release the fingers. Then we're going to come in a tabletop position. And we're going to start with some hip circles. So we're going to extend the right leg behind us. So we're going to lift it, keeping a 90 degree, and then we're just going to draw some circles with the knee. Here what is important is that the whole movement is originating from the hips. So the rest of the body is completely stable. You have to activate your core, push into your hands. So it shouldn't be like this. The rest of the body shouldn't move. And very important, when you're on this side here, you shouldn't be opening the hips. The hips should be completely, the whole front of the body should be facing the mat. And you're just moving the hips. Very nice. And then you're going to place the right foot on the same height as the left knee. And so the foot is looking away from you. So it's a 90-degree angle. And you're keeping your hands in tabletop. And here we're going to do some internal and external rotation. So you're going to drop the knee towards the front. And then you're going to open it as much as you can, pushing it backwards. And here really feel the squeeze in the back of the legs, in the glutes, and then to the front and open. So this external rotation is really important for us. I really want you to get used to which muscles you should be squeezing when you want to open the hips. And one last time. Very nice. And then you can walk your hands up, and we're coming in an upright position, keeping the foot where it is. So here we're doing the same movement as before. So we're externally rotating this knee. So we're actively pushing it back, squeezing the glutes, squeezing the outer side of the thigh. Hands are on the hips, and keeping the squeeze, we're just pulsing into the hips. So here you should feel a little stretch here. This is very important when it comes to drop knees, because when you're going to drop the knee, you want to open the hips, and squeezing this area and these muscles is going to help you keep them open. So this open position of the hips means both hips are looking at 90 degree of this front foot. So you have one leg here, and the hips are looking in the opposite 90-degree direction. And then we're going to come back to center and place this foot in front of you. So we're coming in a normal low lunge. And here, normally the knee is a bit uncomfortable, so here you can tuck the toe of the back leg, lift the knee slightly, and then lower it down so the knee is in a comfortable position. If the knee is painful, you can also place a blanket or a cushion under the knee. You shouldn't feel any pain in the knee. Extend the front foot, flex the front foot, and here you're going to open the chest, try to send your hips back until you feel a stretch in the back of the front leg. And then you can bend and come back into low lunge. And then again, extend, open the chest, and low lunge. One last time. Very nice. And then you're going to place both hands on the left side of the front foot. You're going to tuck the toe of the back leg, and you need to try to extend and lower the back leg. And at the same time, we're pushing the front foot into the mat as much as you can. So you're activating the legs, squeezing the legs towards each other. If this is also too intensive, you can also place a block or some books under your hands. Very nice. And then you're bringing the front foot back, and we're coming into our tabletop position. Repeating this on the other side. So first, make sure your tabletop is clean, that your hands are under your shoulders, knees are under the hips. And then we're just lifting the left leg behind, and we're drawing some circles without moving the rest of the body, activating the core, pushing through the hands. One last time. And then we're putting our foot next to our knee. The foot is facing outwards, and then we're dropping our knee inwards and opening. So internal and external rotation. And really focus in the external rotation to really push the knee as far as you can. And really squeezing the muscles on the outer side of your leg. And then we're coming up with our upper body, and we're starting our pulses, keeping the activation on the outer edge of the front leg. And make sure that your hips are facing in the 90-degree position, so you're not turning towards the leg, you're keeping your hips as open as you can. Feeling a nice stretch here on the inner thigh. Very nice. So one way that you know that you're doing the external rotation of the hips is that your knee is not collapsing inwards. It should always be at least on top of the heel or even further in the other direction. And then you can place the left foot in front. You're tucking the toe of the back foot, extend the back leg, and drop the back knee, coming in a low lunge. So here, come on top of your back knee with extending the back leg, extending the front leg, flexing the front foot, opening the chest. Try to slightly tilt the pelvis outwards, so feel a stretch in the front leg, and then we're coming forward and back. This is also a bit of a balancing challenge, but it's really good because it helps you activate the muscles while you're stretching them, and this is creating mobility, which is basically like flexibility but more controlled, and so you're less prone to injury, and you can use the range a lot more when you're on the wall. And then you're coming into low lunge. Hands are on the inner side of the front foot. I'm adapting my front foot, so the stance is a bit smaller. And then you're tucking the back toes, and you're extending the back leg and lower. So here the stretch would be a lot more intensive in the back leg. And as always, you can place some blocks under the hands. You don't have to force it. So if you feel a stretch, it's enough. You don't have to push through the stretch. That's the thing about mobility and flexibility, is more is not always better. Okay, one last time. And then we're stepping back into our tabletop position. Here we're tucking the toes, and we're coming in our first downward facing dog that you know from the first class. So here again, pushing through the palms, protracting and depressing the shoulders, Our knees are bent and our back is flat. And this time we're going to focus a little bit more on the legs. So we're starting pedaling with the feet. So warming up the back of the calves, the hamstrings. But don't forget the upper body. Very nice. You can come back into a neutral downward facing dog. Look between your hands, bend your knees, and then you're stepping forward into forward fold. In forward fold, you can bend your knees as much as you need, even a little bit more, so you only have a very, very slight stretch in the legs. And then you're going to grab the elbows with your hands, letting the back relax and the shoulders and neck relax, fall towards the ground, and then you're going to sway from side to side. And then you can look at the elbows, look towards the navel, and then slowly, vertebra by vertebra, we're rolling up, taking the time until we're in a standing position. Very nice. Now we're going to start with our sun salutations that we did last time. So we're starting in a mountain pose. The feet are parallel, hip wide apart. Squeeze the glutes, activate the core, open the chest, deep press the shoulders, hands underneath your hips, palms are facing forward. And you're imagining yourself lengthening through the top of the head as if you were pulled by a string. Take a moment to get ready to ground yourself. And then you're going to inhale, raise the arms over the head, keeping the depression in the shoulders. Exhale, fold forward from the hips. Inhale, halfway lift, hands on the shins, flatten the back, look slightly forward. Deep press the shoulders. Extend the legs slightly until you feel a stretch. And then exhale, hands to the mat, step back into plank. Inhale, push through the palms, activate the core, squeeze the glutes. Exhale, drop the knees onto the back. And Ashtanga Namaskar, chin and chest to the ground, keeping the depression in the shoulders. Inhale, shift the weight forward, hips on the ground, roll the shoulders back, baby cobra. And then exhale, we're pushing ourselves up and back into downward facing dog. Look between the hands, bend the knees, and step into forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, hands on the shins, look slightly forward. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, raise the arms and come into your extended mountain pose. And exhale, lower. Now we're going to do our chair pose that we know. So we're adding some variations to our sun salutation. Going to inhale, raise the arms. Bend your knees, sending your hips back, coming in a chair pose. So it's like a squat, but your feet are hip wide apart. And then you can bring your hands in prayer position, open the chest, and lower even a little bit more. Pushing through the heels. And then keeping this activation, you're slightly shifting your weight onto the right foot. So you can lift the left foot off the ground, and then we're stepping the left foot back, coming in a high lunge. High lunge, you're squeezing the legs towards each other so that we're stabilizing the muscles in the stretch, so we're protecting the muscles. And here, your hips are closed. This is what I was saying before. Both hips are facing forward. You're not opening to the side. Both hips are facing forward. Strong legs. And then I'm going to exhale, drop the knees, and inhale, extend the knee back up. Exhale, drop the knee, inhale, extend back up. And then you get to extend the arms over your head, and we're coming in a warrior two. So for warrior two, you're going to drop the back heel to the side, So the back foot is parallel to the lower side of the mat, and your arms are going to lower parallel to the ground. Your gaze is over the front hand. And here we're in an open position, so we're actively externally rotating the front knee, squeezing the outer edge of the front leg, and then inhale, extend the front leg, releasing some of the tension, and exhale back down. So this is our open hip position, which is really important for a drop knee. We're going to be using that a lot during the program. And then exhaling to circle the back arm forward, coming in a high lunge. Inhale, raise the arms over your head, and exhale, hands to the ground, step back into plank. Drop the knees, arch the back, shin and chest to the ground. Inhale, shift the weight forward, baby cobra, and exhale, downward facing dog. So this is quite intensive for the legs, but it really helps also if you have the legs that are warmed up. It helps when we're going to go into stretches and more hip openings. Once the muscles are warm, they allow a lot more space. So pedaling with your feet and downward facing dog. Look towards your hands, bend your knees, and step into forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, raise the arms into extended mountain pose, and exhale, lower. Very nice. Take a moment to prepare yourself for the second round. If you need to drink, you can pause the video, drink something. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So in mountain pose, palms are facing forward, shoulders are in depression, activate the core, draw the navel in. And then going to inhale, bend the knees, raise the arms over your head, come in chair pose. And then exhale, hands in prayer position, open the chest and lower a little bit more. Inhale, open the chest, stabilizing in chair pose. And then you're going to shift your weight onto the left foot so you can lift the right foot off the ground, and you're stepping back into high lunge. And then you're dropping the back knee and extend. With our breath, so we're going to exhale, drop the back knee, inhale, extend. Keeping the hips forward. One last time, exhale, drop the back knee, inhale, extend. Take a moment here, and then the next inhale, you're going to extend the arms over your head, and we're opening into warrior two. So here, excellently rotating the front leg, pushing the outer edge of the back foot into the mat. Arms are parallel to the ground, shoulders are depressed. And then inhale, you can extend the front leg, give it a little break. And then exhale, bend the front leg, turn the back foot. So coming in a high lunge on the toes, arms over the head, and then exhale, hands to the ground, step back into plank. Drop your knees, hips on the heels, so coming in child pose. And we're taking a moment in child pose to give our legs some rest. So today's focus is really to understand the open and closed position of the hips and how to externally rotate the hips, because that is what we're going to use a lot when we're on the wall. So while we're doing these exercises and this flow, really try to bring your awareness to your hips, which muscles are being used, how the different positions feel, how you can make them easier. Okay, one last breath. And then you can tuck the toes, come into downward facing dog. Look between your hands, bend your knees, and then step into forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, raise your arms, extended mountain pose. And exhale, lower. Okay, get ready. So, inhale, chair pose. Send your hips back. Weight is on the heels. Exhale, hands in prayer position. Inhale, shift the weight onto the right foot. And exhale, step back with the left leg. Here, I'm going to add a stretch. So I'm going to extend the front leg and open the chest, pulling the lower belly forward. We're slightly folding forward like we did at the beginning when we were on the knees, until you feel a stretch in the front leg. At the same time, you can try to push the back heel into the mat, so you're stretching the back calf and the front hamstring at the same time. And then you can come back into high lunge. Inhale, raise your arms over your head, and exhale, open into warrior two. Here, actively squeezing the glutes, the outer edge of the front leg, externally rotating the front leg, keeping our hips open so the hips are facing to the side. And we're going to extend the front leg, keeping our hips facing 90 degrees. We're tilting our hips backwards, pulling our right arm forward, and then we're lowering the right arm down. So we're stretching the front leg with some different muscles. We're stretching more the inner side of the front leg. So here you can also place your hand on your shin, if that helps. What is important is that you try to stack the left shoulder on top of the right shoulder, so you're not collapsing forward. You want to be able to really bend to the side. And if this is difficult, then you can place your hand on the shin, or you can also place it on a block. And then I'm going to come back up. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, circle the back arm, coming in a high lunge. Arms over the head, and then exhale, hands to the ground. And this time we're just stepping the back foot forward, coming in a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, raise your arms, extended mountain pose. And exhale, lower. Other leg, and then we're done with the difficult part. So, inhale, raise the arms, send your hips back, chair pose. Exhale, hands in prayer position. Inhale, shift the weight on the left leg. And exhale, step back into high lunge. Inhale, extend the front foot. And then exhale, open the chest, slightly fold forward, send the back heel back. If you want, you can also close the stance a little bit to help with the stretch. That is not important. So you're actively pushing the back heel into the mat and pushing the front leg into the mat. So it's like if you wanted to break your mat into two. So you're pushing both legs away from each other. And then you're coming back into high lunge. Adjust the stance if you need. Inhale, raise the arms over your head. And exhale, warrior two. Externally rotating the front leg. And then inhale, extend the front leg. And exhale, you're sending this hip back, pulling yourself forward with the left arm. And then we're folding forward, hands on the shin or on a block, keeping the right elbow, the right shoulder on top of the left shoulder, so not collapsing inwards. You want to really open into one line. You can look either in front of you, or if your balance is good enough, you can try to look towards the ceiling. So you should feel a stretch in the front leg, maybe even here on the right side of your body. And then slowly you're coming back up. Bend the front leg in a warrior two. Inhale, circle the back arm. Coming in a high lunge. Exhale, hands to the ground. And you're stepping forward into forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, careful, we're coming into chair pose. So you're bending the legs, arms in prayer positions. And then slowly, we're bending all the way down, putting our hips on the ground. So coming in a seated position. You have done the most intensive part of the class. Now we're moving on to a couple of stretches to really open the hips now that the hips are all warmed up, the muscles are soft. And then you've done it for the first week. So for the stretches, you're going to need some blocks. If you don't have blocks, then take some cushions, or if you have a very low stool or some books. It needs to be relatively high. I'm going to show you the exercise and then you can see. So what we're going to do, it's going to look a little bit weird, but it's a really good stretch. So we're going to start with the hips, with the feet a little bit wider open than the hips. You're going to turn the feet slightly out, and you're going to sit on the block, like if you were going on to the toilet, basically. And then we're going to put our elbows against the knees and push our knees open. So here we're going to really try to open the chest, slightly lean forward, and with our elbows we're pushing our knee away from each other. So we're really stretching the inner side of the hips. So yeah, now you can go and get whatever you find. If you're really flexible, you should even be able to do this like this without using a block. But you can definitely start using a block and adapt the height that you need. Yeah, so we're going to do this. I'm going to stay here for a couple of minutes. And then for the last couple of seconds, you're going to add a bit of movement. So you're going to extend the left arm on the left side of the front foot. And with your arm, you're actively pushing against the leg, and the leg is pushing against the arm. So you're increasing the stretch and activating the muscle, and trying to open the chest and look towards the ceiling, reaching up with your right arm. And then you're coming back to center, and we're changing sides. Again, one for each side. And the other side. Come back to center and stretch one last time. So this movement is very obviously going to help you when you want to do things like knee drops, because you're going to move like this. And yeah, we're going to do a little bit more very close and knee drop movements over the time of the program. Right now we're doing a little bit more basic movements so that we're preparing the body. But we will be getting to it over time. Very nice. Then you can release slowly. You can bring your feet closer together. Shake your legs if you need to. So we are doing the butterfly position. We're in a seated position. The soles of our feet are against each other. If this is already tight on your back or doesn't feel comfortable on the back, then you can take a block or a cushion and sit on the block like this. So it's important that your back is comfortable so that you can send the stretch towards your legs. So you want to, again, be able to lengthen the spine, open the chest, because you want to pull the lower belly towards the front. And you're interlacing your fingers, placing them under your feet, and you're pulling your lower belly towards the ground, pushing your knees towards the mat. And we're holding here for the last stretch. And then you can keep the same position, just instead of actively opening the chest and pulling yourself forward, you're just going to relax completely, and now you can round the back, just allow yourself to fall towards the feet. This stretch may stretch your back. Now this is fine. We're just adding a different type of stretch. And we're just staying here for the last 15 seconds. And then slowly you can release the stretch. So this was the end of today's class. If you've enjoyed and you're a boulderer and you want to work on things like core strength, shoulder mobility, hip mobility, if you want to release some tension, some pain, or if you're interested in yoga that is specifically designed for boulderers and integrate movements that really help bouldering and climbing on the wall, then make sure to check the link in the description, because I am going to publish a 8-week yoga and mobility program specifically designed for boulderers that want to start yoga. And we're going to start with the real basics like we just did now. We're going to go through all the different joints, and then we're going to work on different skills on strengthening the body in the end ranges, increasing the mobility, and improving skills like balance, coordination, and everything that you need to work on the wall. There is a lot more information in the link below. Make sure to check it out and to sign up so that you'll be notified as soon as I launch the program. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.